because everything that you need, everything that He has promised, has not passed away. Because heaven and earth are still here. So the promises that we're reading about in Deuteronomy, we're going to go back to Deuteronomy. We're in Genesis chapter 1 right now. But I really want you to take in the fact that wherever you are on your journey for wealth, in your personal life, in your family life, if you're feeling like you haven't arrived yet, or it's too late, or I don't know what to do, I want to encourage you to take the time to talk to the Creator, because heaven and earth is still here. All of His promises are still here. They have not gone anywhere. And you have access to them. You just have to ask Him. When we started or opened up our class, we were reading in Deuteronomy 8. And we got down to 17 and 18 where it says, I'm going to read it for you. You can stay there in Genesis. But you shall remember that the Lord your God, for it is He that giveth thee power to get wealth, that He may establish His covenant, which He swore unto thy fathers, as it is this day. There is the power to get wealth. Now, what you need is different than what I need, is different than someone in Australia or China or the US or wherever. But He's given you the power. There's nothing else. You have it. That's what I'm like, you have it. The thing is, do you know what to do with it? Do you understand how to dominate with it? And that's why I'm so today, just this thing about heaven and earth is just really stuck with me, because everything that we see here right now, the cement, the telephone wires, your cell phone, that comes from minerals that come out of the earth. Most of the minerals come out of the earth in Africa, but there are other places on the continent. But there's nothing that we're doing and talking on that did not come from the earth. Can you think about that? Like the steel that makes your cars, the trees that make the rubber for your tires. Where do you get the petrol, the gas to put in your car? What's carrying electricity to your house? We found a way, companies have found a way to charge us for the free Wi-Fi air. The Wi-Fi waves are just there. That's free. They're charging us because they know how to tap into it and make it useful to us. But it's there. Do you know that everything that we have now, even this iPad that I'm holding, how did they get the glass? How did they get the rubber? How did they get all the different minerals and metals that make the inside of this iPad work? The Wi-Fi router. Where does all that material? It comes from the earth, and it comes from that someone was given power, and they took their power, and this is what they made. You have access to that same power. It is not any different. It's just, have we been good managers of those things? Have we walked in dominion? So let's get to one of my favorite verses, Genesis 1:26-28. And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So all the wealth and the riches and everything that man would ever need, He's given us dominion over it. He's given us that power to get wealth. What are you doing with your power? So God created man in His own image, and the image of God created He him. Male and female created He them. And God blessed them. And God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, every tree in which is the fruit of tree yielding seed, and it shall be meat for you, and over every beast of the earth, and every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And God saw everything that He made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. Yeshua said to us in Matthew 5 that not one jot, not one tittle shall pass away. Heaven and earth will pass away first before all of this thing comes to an end. So that means that there is opportunity for you. You've not come to the game late. I didn't know about Torah till just now, or I went through a bad marriage and had divorce, or none of that matters to the earth. Now, we may have wasted time in not managing what we had, and managing time is very important. I'm not saying that it's not, but what I want to encourage you about is that it is not too late. Heaven and earth are still here. And that power that's been given to you, he has not taken that away. Because we see people who aren't even thinking about following Torah. I'm not going to say they're not thinking about God because I don't know their heart. But there are people who are not thinking about following the laws and commandments of Torah, but they still have access to the power that was given to them. And I don't want to get into witchcraft and getting all these extra powers. Let's just don't even bring that up. Let's just stick with there are people who have managed their resources, managed their power well. Have you done the same? Have you been disciplined? What does it take for discipline for you to manage your power, your dominion that's been given to you? Every single human being has been given dominion. What are you doing with your dominion? It has nothing to do with what other people have, like dominion has been given to you. And this earth, right now, for the most part, you still have access to it. You could go plant a garden. You could sell your produce. You could make something from your produce and sell the outcome of that. What are you doing with the earth? What are you doing with the heavens, your day and your night, your times and your seasons? How well are you using your time? Are you really using your time, managing your time wisely? That is just as much a resource as the earth is. And what are you doing with it? Heaven and earth have not passed away yet. And therefore, it is not too late for you. All you need to do is to get into obedience. Okay. Back to Deuteronomy 8. Anyone have any thoughts? Anything that they want to share? Any questions that you have?
Shabbat Shalom to everyone. I'm everything is we cannot grow the, uh, the money tree, and then we need to do something to be like like we need to take responsibility for everything. To be able to be wealthy, we need to do something like that is our responsibility. We will pray to our Father and ask Him to help us, to give us strength, to give us the wisdom, to give us like to strengthen us sometimes, but not like we all put it in His hand and then we do nothing. That is something like for me is very profound. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Esther, for sharing that. It's true. That's a good point. We do pray. We say, Father, help us. And he said, I gave you heaven and the earth, and I gave you dominion. What are you doing with it? So we have this responsibility to use and have access to what he's given to every single individual. Every single human being has dominion. There was no requirement that you need to know Jesus. Accept him as your Lord and Savior. You have dominion. Now, whether or not you live a prosperous and healthy and peaceful life, There are some things now you need to start following the commandments, right? The laws and the statutes. But I would encourage you to not look at other people and say, look at Beyonce and look at Jay-Z and look at Tyler Swift. And don't go look at that politician, look at that president, look at these corrupt people. Like, you really don't have time. Really, don't waste your energy looking at them because you truly are not God and you don't know their heart and you don't know how much grace Elohim has given to them. I'm positive that none of us were saved coming right out the womb, right? How much grace has Father given to you, even when you've come into the knowledge of knowing who He is? And has He not given you grace and mercy? Let's be real. He has. So why spend your energy looking at other people and saying, how come they're so blessed? And how come really? It really doesn't matter. Because when you stand before the Father, you can't be like, I was just wondering, why did Beyonce get to make all those? Really? That truly is not going to be an issue of concern. So why make it an issue of concern now? Why make it your focus that these people are wealthy or these people are doing that to be angry or bitter or resentful that, oh, this person didn't help me, this person stole from me, this person cheated? Listen, we can learn so much if we choose from every single experience, right? It doesn't have to be that the negative things that have happened, people that we trusted that we shouldn't have trusted. And I'm not here to debate with you about whether or not God spoke to you and you didn't hear him, because I'm sure that we can all think of instances where we think about something and we're like, you know what? I knew I shouldn't have done that, but I did it anyways. Or I had doubt about doing something and I followed through anyways. How many times do we rush through life and we're just not even listening to Elohim at all? So is it possible that he spoke to us, that there was something that we knew, that we were in a different place? And Charles and I were having this conversation over devotions the other day about when God disciplines you. And what was the word, Charles? It was discipline and, huh? Rebuke, yes. We're reading from Proverbs 3, right? And about discipline and rebuke and to not despise it. And so rebuke, we were talking about rebuke, that's something for a voice. That's something that you hear that someone says to you. But discipline can be action, right? So your parent could rebuke you for doing something wrong, but then there could be discipline, like consequences. Okay, you can't go outside to play for a whole week, or you don't get dessert, or I'm going to take away your phone, or whatever. There's discipline, there's action, and then there's rebuke. How many times have we been warned and even rebuked about something and we turn right around and do it again anyways? So really, do not take your energy looking at other people and their wealth situation and wondering. What you need to be spending your energy on is, how do I get to walk in dominion the way that was given to every single human being on the earth? And what's more, if I am keeping the commandments of my Father, then I am guaranteed to be blessed. Yeshua said it in Matthew 5. We read it earlier. Everything in the law is going to remain until heaven and earth pass away. And right now, there's earth beneath our feet and heaven above us, so we still have time. So all the promises of the law have not failed. They're not done away with. They're not off the table for you. And most of us who are in here in this room, we understand that Torah is for us. We're not going to go through that in this class. There's a lot you can study if you're not sure about that. But so we understand that this law, this Torah, is for us right now, this day, whether we have any type of blood from any of the tribes or not. It doesn't matter. Torah is for us. So heaven and earth are here and they are watching you. They are your witnesses. Everything that you need to be successful already exists. Think about that. Like the telephone and the copper that's needed and the lithium for batteries, all of that was in the earth from the time of Noah. It's just now that people use their power and their knowledge to understand how to take it out and how to make it beneficial. These Wi-Fi waves and radio waves, the way that I am talking to you sitting in Kenya, and you can hear me in the US and in Vietnam and UK and wherever. Those waves always existed. Nobody just created that last year. It's just someone used their power to harness it, and now they're making money off of it. Don't be bitter about that. What power, what dominion do you have? Do you understand? Is the thing is, have you ever really stopped to ask the Father? Sometimes we have our own ideas about what we think we want to do. So we try this business idea, try that business idea, try this. And you always learn from them. When you look at some very successful people, they'll tell you about how many businesses they had that failed until they got to this point of where they're having success. The thing is, listen, let's focus. Let's focus on what are we doing with the dominion and the power that has been given to us. Everything that you absolutely need for wealth already exists in this earth. It is right here. All you have to do is bring it forth. But you need to know what it is. You need to know what you're supposed to do. Where is it you're supposed to have dominion? How does your power work? The same thing that we need for digging copper out of the ground is not the same thing for planting corn. Everybody's got different skills, different abilities. But obviously, not everybody has tapped into all of that, or else we'd all be wealthier and there wouldn't be any poor people. So, what are you going to do on your journey to wealth? I actually feel like I want to end it there today because I want us to get into moving through Deuteronomy and reading some of the things that we're supposed to be doing as far as how do we take care of the poor, how do we take care of the orphans, and our responsibility. But Deuteronomy 8 is really so key. And I don't want to take away from the heaven and earth and that everything that you need is in your own hands. Are two stories that come to mind that I want to read from. Let's go to 2 Kings 4. Let's go to 2 Kings 4, verse 1. Now the wife of one of the sons of the prophet cried to Elisha. She said, "Your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that your servant feared the Lord. But the creditor has come to take my 2 children to be his slaves." And Elisha said to her, "What shall I do for you? Tell me, what have you in the house?" And she said, "Your servant has nothing in the house except a jar of oil." What I think is interesting here is that Elisha didn't go around and collect an offering for her. She was certainly a widow and would have qualified for certain types of protection under the law, which we'll read about in Deuteronomy later. But he didn't offer her money. He didn't go around to the other people and say, "Let's take up an offering for her." But he asked her what it was that she had in her house. And she said, "Nothing except a jar of oil." Then he said, "Go outside and borrow vessels from all your neighbors, empty vessels and not too few. Then go in and shut the door behind yourself and your sons and pour into all these vessels. And when one is full, set it aside." So she went from him and shut the door behind herself and her sons. And as she poured, they brought vessels to her. This required some things on her part. First, she asked for help, but then she took the advice I mean, think about it. People are coming to take my sons to be slaves, and you want me to go borrow empty jars. Like, really? That's your plan? That's your wise wisdom to me? How many of us would have been like, yeah, I don't know, because my husband was your servant. So how is it that we're even having creditors? How are they coming to take my sons? Why don't you have a widow's fund? Why are you giving me money? Why don't you go talk to them so they won't take my sons? His advice to her was to go out and to borrow. I don't know how far she had to walk. I don't think she had a car. It's not like all her neighbors lived in one place. He said, borrow not a few. So she went in the house with her sons and they poured the oil. Verse 6. When the vessels were full, she said to her son, bring me another vessel. And he said to her, there is not another. Then the oil stopped flowing. What had happened if she had decided to ask for vessels for 2 or 3 days? We don't know how long she asked for vessels. We don't know if she only spent an hour on it. We don't know if she spent a week on it. We don't know. But as soon as she ran out, the oil stopped flowing. So she came and told the man of God, and he said, go sell the oil and pay your debts, and you and your sons can live on the rest. That's an interesting way to examine that. The way that God chooses to provide is going to look different for different people. And however plan he tells you, don't be looking at somebody else's plan. What's your plan? What did he say to you? And were you consistent with it? Because what if she had only gotten 2 jars? She might not have had enough. We don't know how many jars she had. We don't know how much she sold it for, but apparently she could pay off her debts and they could live on the rest. From being obedient by using her power and her ability to be obedient to the instructions, she was able to come out. We don't know how long it took for this to happen. And so I love this story because it really shows us something about the way that Elohim provides. You could go back and think about, what about Jesus when he told Peter to get the coins out of the fish's mouth? Yeah, but what did Peter have to do? He had to go out and fish and cast his line in. And the first fish he got on the hook. Like, why didn't Jesus just snap his fingers and pick up 2 coins underneath his shoe? He could have. He is that powerful. He's creator. But he didn't. Peter had to go work for something. And it came to him. Anything that we are going to do is going to require effort on our part to be obedient. And so I'm just encouraging you today that heaven and earth is your witness. They have not passed away. Everything that you need to acquire wealth is within your hands. And now, are you going to be a good manager of it? Are you going to be obedient? Are you going to be consistent? Because it is not enough just to, if you follow the statutes and commandments, all of them, including Sabbath, you're going to be blessed. But in those statutes and commandments, there are things about how you work, how you're diligent, how you treat others, how you love the Lord your God, how you listen to him. And if you put yourself in the frame of mind to do those things, you're going to be obedient because there's obedience to his commandments. And some of them are the things that he's going to speak to you directly. He's going to tell you need to do something. And if you know that he told you that you need to do those things, then you follow through on those things. That's my encouragement for you today. That's all we're going to have for class today. When we come back next week, we will dive further into Deuteronomy, go all the way through, look at how we take care of our community, our bodies, because wealth is not just money. Wealth is health, so we'll cover the food laws. Wealth is about the land, how you produce, take care of your resources. Wealth is about what happens to the poor. We'll move ourselves all the way through until we get to Deuteronomy 28, where we have the blessings and the curses. And I don't know if you can tell, but I've had a sore throat. So another reason why I'm not going to be talking for 2 hours today. All right, everyone. I hope you're encouraged. I hope you'll study. I hope you will Take the rest of the Sabbath time to ask the Father, what is his plan for wealth for you? Where do you have dominion? How are you using your power? How are you managing the things on heaven and earth? Heaven is your time and your seasons. And the earth is all the resources that you need, everything that you need to succeed. It's already there. So just ask the Father how to tap into that. Because the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. There is nothing that he doesn't know about. Take the time to be mentored by him. All right, everyone. You have a blessed Sabbath, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to Selah Sabbath Studies, where ancient truths meet modern life. We pray what you've heard today invites you into deeper reflection and a deeper walk with the Creator. If you'd like to join us for live Sabbath sessions, find the room on Clubhouse. And if you're listening after the fact, feel free to leave your thoughts or questions in the comments. We do read and consider them and will respond. Until next time, pause, reflect, rise. This is Selah.